Let's read this Bible story titled, Saul Turns Against David. This takes place in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18 through chapter 23. Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Jonathan took off his robe and gave it to David. Whatever Saul sent David to do, David did it so successfully that Saul gave him a high rank in the army. When the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistines, the women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul. As they danced, they sang, "Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands." Saul was very angry. This refrain galled him. And from that time on, Saul kept a jealous eye on David. Now Saul's daughter, Michal, was in love with David. So Saul said, "The king wants no other price for the bride other than 100 Philistine foreskins." Saul's plan was to have David fall by the hands of the Philistines. However, David and his men went out and killed 200 Philistines. Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David. But Jonathan spoke well of David, and so Saul took this oath: "As surely as the Lord lives, David will not be put to death." But an evil spirit from the Lord came upon Saul as he was sitting in his house with his spear in hand, while David was playing the harp. Saul tried to pin him to the wall with his spear, but David eluded him as Saul drove the spear into the wall. That night, David made good with his escape. Saul sent men to David's house to watch it and to kill him in the morning, but Michal, David's wife, warned him and let David down through the window, and he fled and escaped. Then Michal took an idol and laid it on the bed, covering it with a garment and putting some goat's hair on the head. Michal pretended that David was ill, and when the men entered, there was an idol in the bed. Saul said to Michal, "Why did you deceive me like this and send my enemy away so he escaped?" Then word came to Saul, "David is in Noath at Ramah." So Saul went to Noath at Ramah, but the Spirit of God came even upon him, and he walked along prophesying until he came to Noath. He stripped off his robes and also prophesied in Samuel's presence. Then David fled to Jonathan. Saul's anger flared up at Jonathan, and he said, "As long as the son of Jesse lives on this earth, neither you nor your kingdom will be established. Now send and bring him to me, for he must die." Then Jonathan knew that his father intended to kill David. David went into hiding and traveled from place to place, living in caves with his men. Saul continued to pursue him. While David was at Horesh in the desert of Ziph, Jonathan went to David and said, "Don't be afraid. I will be king over Israel, and I will be second to you. Even my father Saul knows this." Understanding the story. The result of God's rejection of Saul is tragically apparent. His behavior becomes increasingly disturbed and deceitful, and even his children disobey him in favor of David, whereas Jonathan accepts that David is God's choice as Saul's successor. Saul does his utmost to defy God's will. Thank you, Lord, for your word. Come on back. We'll do it again.